Well, afternoon. We're here once again at the PRI show here in Lucas Oil Stadium, joined by John Mears here with the Pro Pulling League. John, good to see you again.
Man, it's been a minute since I've been on the floor of this stadium. There was a little bit more dirt, but hey, it's always good to be back here in Indianapolis, the capital of racing.
Absolutely. And, of course, the PRI show here this weekend, lots of fans out here. It's, Friday afternoon, the folks come out here. And what's been going on here with the Pro Pulling League? Tell us what you guys been up to.
Yeah, well, we've had, of course, our banquet season's kind of wrapped up here. I think there might be one more. The folks over at OSTPA have theirs in January. And working, of course, like everybody else does, scheduling, rules, sponsors, all those hot items that go on in the off-season.
Right, yeah, off-season. And how are things looking for 2025 here on the Pro Pulling League?
I think we've got a couple of surprising little nuggets that'll maybe be coming out next week. I know we wanted to get some stuff done, but just some colors and designs needed to be dialed in just a little bit more.
Okay, so a couple hints right there, right? But of course, John, let's talk about schedule for 2025. Most of the key events still on the schedule. Shy Diesel Extravaganza, Hillsboro Charity Pull,
Yep.
Pull of the Year this year on the Pro Pulling League circuit. What else we got? All the other events as well?
Yeah, I know June is extremely busy, it seems like. I think there's an addition in Missouri on the schedule, so we really like that. And then getting that July, that Hell Week all straightened out. There's a lot of pulling that goes on in that short amount of time, those 3 or 4 days or 5 days, whatever it is, it all goes by in a blur.
Right. It ends up in Evansville, Indiana there on Saturday night.
Well, you go on over to Altamont.
Oh, that's right. I forgot it, yes.
Hometown of the Nelsons, yeah.
That's right, yep. So that ends up there. But all the key marked events here, 19th year here for the Pro Pulling League. And
well, since you're the pulling reference man, so
yes.
This was the finish of the 19th season.
Well, 06 would have been the first year, right?
Well, see, we've always had this debate of when was it. So we had, in 2015, we had a 10th anniversary helmet.
So it would have been 06 would have been the first year.
Okay.
Officially, so do you count the first year? Is that
I think you have to count
so you have to count it. So
yeah,
so I would say we're
on number 20 coming around.
This is 20.
The next.
So we got there we go. We got a merch deal there.
Already
there we
in
go.
The works.
20th anniversary.
Yes,
okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So wow, hard to believe. So for the folks that don't know, how'd you get involved in the sport?
Wow, how did I get involved in the sport? Well, my dad built livestock trailers and was a huge pulling guru back then. And he partnered with a gentleman named Doug. What was Doug's last name? Dang, it's been so long ago. It was like in 1985.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a puller as well. I want to say Doug Flutie, but that ain't right. Doug Fricky, excuse me. Doug Fricky.
Okay.
I had to think about
Flutie
that.
was the quarterback for the Bills, yeah.
So we had a pulling tractor. He worked with Doug there in 85, and then in 86 he bought a tractor. And then if you go way back there in that 87 or 88 year, there was a couple of orange John Deeres that showed up at Bowling Green up there at the Tractor Pulling Championships. And Dad parked the orange John Deere in the winner's circle. So that was a long thing. But what Dad used to do was he would haul trailers and then have the pulling tractor on the back and pulled in several states. I mean, the Carolinas, Florida, Greeley, Colorado, just everywhere. If there was a pull, he was going to it. So did that for many years, and then when we got a little older and I was able to drive, we had built a couple of tractors, and they were twins, so that was good, and we did that. And then, of course, life happens, college goes on, and time gets shorter, it seems like.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, we kind of took another step in motorsports when you quit driving.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you head on to the next?
Well, that's where it comes back to this whole Monster Jam thing, right? So in college, let's go back another step, is longtime official John Blaney. He's like, you're a tractor pull guy, but you ought to do some monster truck stuff. So went to the Monster Jam tech schools and did all that stuff with their summit thing. And there was probably, 4, 5, 6 years, did their safety inspector items and so forth. So the neat thing is, you get to see all those same faces and so forth, but The first guy ever to room with me that was his first time, and he's a tractor pull junkie, is Cody Saucier, driver of many different monster trucks. But I got a kick out of that is he's like, man, I was kind of a guru on monster trucks, and he was a guru on pulling, so it was kind of a neat thing. And then he steps into the driving platform. So yeah, that was neat. And then we started doing some officiating and doing all that stuff, and I think 2001 was the first year being a full-time employee, and then and then we're into this kind of, we're this deep into it now.
Yeah, so that was the old ATPA circuit that you were full-time with there, and then 06 we talked about the beginnings of the Pro Pulling League, and boy, how things have grown over the years.
Yeah, you can have so much fun in just a short amount of time. We're blinking our eyes, and it's 20 years.
Yeah, hard to believe already.
It is.
So what else we got on the docket there for the Pro Pulling League here in 2025?
Well, we were fortunate enough, those folks in Florida are going to be pulling here in about 3 weeks, at that Ocala event, I think 24th, 25th of January. I don't know. I'm still trying to get used to saying pulling in January. I thought Clint Tucker was the only guy that pulled in January,
Yeah.
But there's other folks that do a lot of pulling. And so that's going to be, I don't know, I think 5 or 6 weekends down there. And then, of course, the marquee event in Louisville and the National Farm Machinery Show and the Championship Tractor Pull. That's always on everybody's bucket list. So ticket requests have already started coming in for that thing,
Yep, absolutely. And we see a lot of the competitors have shown, who's getting in, who's not getting in. And that's been the hot topic here at the PRI show with all the pullers, who's in, who's out. And
we had this conversation earlier in a roundtable discussion here at the PRI was, I don't care if it's NTPA, Outlaw, Pro Pulling League, Bluegrass Pulling, USA East. I want to see people go down the track and win, and have a good run. It doesn't matter, I'm going to be the first guy to help a diesel superstock guy to get him, outside of Broadbent into Freedom Hall. I don't care. You don't run that class, but I want those guys to pull on the track. Nobody wants to see anybody fail not being on the track.
Right.
And we want to see good close competition, I think, mostly is the biggest thing. We want everybody to be successful.
Right, and put on a good show. That's what it's all about, being down there. Now, how about on the tech side of things? It seems like the 4.1 turbocharger has been the hot topic there, and have things kind of been settled down with that?
I think that's got a good grasp. We've conversed many times with Hearts and Apex and of course Weimer, and I think everybody's all on the same page with that. I think that'll be a good touch, and we've got those guys lined up, and I know the Light Supers, they're going to go with their aluminum block for those guys, and basically just some cleaning up of some stuff. Our Western Series guys had a couple of rules. They were already texted, and they'll be 2025 rules, not 2026 rules. There was a little bit of a little typo there, but not a huge deal there.
Okay. So no real big changes then on the tech side there?
No, I don't think that there's anything that would be big, just keeping everything in check. Everybody's got pretty much the most of the stuff dialed in for the most part, and just doing little tweaks here and there to keep everybody a level playing field as much as possible.
Now let's go back a year. Before the farm show last year was the big containment with the turbos, and the had a season running all that. How did everything seemed to go pretty well with that?
I don't think any of the pro stocks had split their cover. I think there was just some dyno stuff that had happened, which we're thankful for that, and then all the blankets and devices have worked. Updating some of that stuff, maybe a blanket on a crossover pipe here and there is on the horizon for sure, but I think we've got to look at that and be that was a successful step moving forward.
Right, and like you say, something that had to be done, just the safety side of things, and we saw that at the farm show last year, had some issues, and everything seemed to work, the way it was supposed to.
Yeah, not all. No, I don't think any of them are actually grenaded in that fashion, but I know we did see an exhaust manifold or exhaust housing split. First time I've ever seen that split, and I think that might be a little case of where the heavy elbow metal has put some flex on the flange on the exhaust housing, and it started separating. I had this conversation with Robbie Lemke about a month ago. I don't even know if it was that long, and he's like, we need to support that elbow a little bit more in a pro stock with their heavier scheduled exhaust. So you always got to be making a better mousetrap.
Right, absolutely.
Yep.
And earlier today, had the opportunity to talk to Larry Richwine. He was out here, PRI show, moving around on his scooter out here, and good to see. And Larry's on board once again for this year. And
yeah, you know, he's a wealth of knowledge. You know, that's one thing that you can't take away anybody. That, you know, the power that's upstairs. You know, we've all got it. We've all seen it. And then we could say, what did we learn from that? You know, and no better stop than Larry on those issues.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, not too far from home for him, so good to see him out here.
It is.
John, I know you're a busy guy, so thank you for coming and stopping and telling us what's going on with the Pro Pulling League, and you know, glad to be a part of it every year, and you know, hopefully you guys have a great season and everything looking good.
Yeah, I can't wait to get on the track. You know, I'd like to have a little downtime. You know, it just doesn't seem like that downtime needs to get a little longer here and there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And it's just we blink and we're halfway through the summer. You know, we want to get out on the track, and then about halfway through the summer, we're like, man, is it ever going to end? And then you're kind of, you know, licking your chops to get ready for next season. So
yeah, like you say, you work through Hell Week, and then before you know it, you're on to the you know, end of August there. And so, all right. Well, hey, thanks for coming out.
Thanks.
Always a pleasure.
Absolutely.
John Mears with the Pro Pulling League joining us here at the PRI show here Friday afternoon.